Before we get into today's show, breaking down the Daniel Jeremiah mock draft, for more NFL draft coverage, come to the right spot. Hit that sub button right now. I always like Daniel Jeremiah mock drafts because they're normally a little bit different. And he's got Abdul Carter, number 1. Now, as a reminder, DJ bases his mock drafts on what he's hearing around the league. The top prospects are what he thinks it should be, not what he thinks it will be. So Carter goes number 1, citing the Chad Brinker comments about passing up or not passing up on a generational talent. So no quarterback number 1. Tennessee gets the elite edge rusher. And then Cleveland also passes on a quarterback. He's going Travis Hunter. Now, of note, DJ likes Hunter more as a receiver who moonlights on defense. Maybe it's like 65-35 preferred defense versus offense, but that's going to be a long, in-depth conversation. So it's the quote-unquote top 2 players off the board, number 1, number 2. That leaves the Giants. They get their pick of the quarterbacks, and they take Cam Ward, who I do think fits pretty well with what Brian Daboll wants to do on offense. The gunslinger, strong arm, the mobility, maybe some questionable decision-making, but Ward does fit, I think, pretty well. Then it's Will Campbell, who DJ calls a safe player, which always worries me because when it's the safe player, I'm just triggered by Aaron Curry not being a very safe player all those years ago out of Wake Forest. But protecting Drake May is a must for New England. With Trent Baalke out, the Jags can now take Michigan players again. I'm not even kidding about that. There's real evidence there. Mason Graham, the Michigan defensive tackle, great quickness, good contact player. I think reminds me of Carlos Watkins a lot. Jags do need defensive tackle help. That leaves the Raiders to get Shedeur Sanders, who, of course, is fairly tight with Tom Brady. Falls down to number 6, quote-unquote, falls in this mock draft here. Raiders get their franchise quarterback to help out Pete Carroll, at least for the short term. Who do you think should be the number 1 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. It's the pinned comment, actually. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. DJ's a big fan of Tyler Warren, who's called him one of his favorite players in the draft. I think he can help the run game, help the passing game a lot. Jets are kind of in a weird spot as they embrace a little bit of a rebuild. Would be noteworthy to see Aaron Glenn, defense guy, get an offensive player in the first round. Panthers get a number 1 wide receiver, Tet McMillan, a big body on the outside. Got some T. Higgins to his game. He goes number 8. Mykel Williams out of the Georgia edge rusher, the Saints at number 9 overall. He was banged up a lot this year with this Trayvon Walker, just like really gifted athletic ability, despite the production not being quite as good. And then maybe your first true stunner, Tyler Booker, the Bama offensive guard, goes number 10 here. He is a powerful player, would help protect the interior of the offensive line. And we did see the Lions, not that Ben Johnson was making the call, invest in offensive linemen and sometimes surprise picks in the first round. Back-to-back, likely interior offensive linemen. I love DJ's comp for Armand Membu, by the way. Had him as Elijah Vera Tucker. I like that. Tackle who can play guard, but is probably going to be a guard at the best in the NFL, but has also played tackle at Missouri. The Niners need investments on the offensive line. That one you might see a lot of as we move forward in mock drafts. Not a surprise of Ashton Jeanty going to the Dallas Cowboys here. You know, Brian Schottenheimer statistically does like to run the football quite a bit. If he gets to 12, I don't think many would be surprised by that one. Number 13, Kelvin Banks. So I think what Steve Sarkisian does on offense is the closest thing there is, I would argue, to what Mike McDaniel does on offense with the motion, the quick passing game. So I do think whether it's guard or tackle for the Dolphins, they have invested in tackles recently too. This does, I think, fit pretty well and helps protect Tua, which we know is a very, very big deal. More picks to come, but first, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time's got a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats. Doesn't waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. Now, maybe the big game is a little bit too expensive for you. That's perfectly fine. There are basketball games. There's college basketball games. There's concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Keep an eye out for the super deal. It is the best value for that particular event. The Game Time guarantee is this. You find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app today, create your account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Now, terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. That's CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Terms apply. Link in the code in the comments section and the description of today's show. Number 14, one of my guys, so I love seeing DJ throw some love here. Shedeur, the Texas corner. DJ thinks he'll get some more buzz as the draft process goes on. This guy's my type of player. Physical, ball skills, good quickness. I think the arm length might be a concern for some, but I have a first-round grade on him, so I'm happy to see I'm not crazy on that front. That is over, though, Will Johnson, which I was surprised by. Jeremiah calls Johnson a quote-unquote polarizing player. There are some questions about his speed, which we'd actually mentioned on previous shows. Falcons at 15, though, I think we'd be pretty happy with that pick. Jalen Walker, the Georgia linebacker, kind of an interesting undersized option. But for what the Cardinals do on defense, I really like the fit of Jalen Walker at number 16. That's one I real chance I mock that one a lot myself. Walter Nolan, number 17, out of Ole Miss to the Bengals there. DT, the defensive line, is a big area of concern. My boy Stone Shields, though, was mad that Malachi Starks was not the pick. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Number 18, Mike McDonald gets one of his old players. Remember, there's a former Michigan coach. He takes Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle. It's kind of loading up on D linemen. They've paid Leonard Williams. They have Byron Murphy. I don't love going DT again, but athletically, as a one-tech, I think he fits really well long-term with Byron Murphy. Jihad Campbell. Remember, both Levante David and KJ Britt are bound for free agency. I do think he fits Todd Bowles' scheme really well, too. As an off-ball linebacker that can blitz, we know Bowles likes to do that. Nikamon Worry, the safety out of South Carolina. DJ maybe at higher, gave him some Derwin James vibes. The size, yes. There are times I think that the great athlete Nikamon Worry isn't as physical as I'd like him to be. Matthew Golden, number 21 here out of Texas. That's right, over Luther Burden, over Emeka Abuka. I think gives them some different than George Pickens' play style, who I'm still a bit curious what happens to Pickens long-term in Pittsburgh. He had a massive rise in the college football playoff there. I don't know if he goes round one, but I do think he goes easily top 50. Got a long career in front of him, I think. I think Golden fits as a round one sleeper. Maybe Barron does to an extent as well. Drop a round one sleeper that you've got your eyes out for in the comments of today's show. This is like 3 mock drafts we've done in a row that has Colston Loveland going 22 to the Chargers. They have a need. Tight end's a need. It's a Michigan man. It's Jim Harbaugh. It makes sense. Now, I am very curious where Shamar Stewart ends up going. This is a gifted athlete, outstanding traits, who doesn't have the production. And that does matter. Just because you're a great athlete, hey, you're making some splash plays. Why aren't you getting sacks, though? Reminds me of some of Adolfo. Different builds, very different builds, but that was a similar complaint there. Malachi Starks, hopefully better than the last time Minnesota took a Georgia safety. Wasn't as impactful, but he's going to impress in the pre-draft process, and I think he's still a very, very talented football player. Luther Burden to Houston. Funnily enough, I actually don't hate this comp. DJ comped him to Stephon Diggs, who is heading to free agency, and receiver outside of Nico Collins is a need in Houston. Josh Connerly, young, talented, still developing offensive lineman. I think this makes sense for the Rams, and not a unique mock draft pick I've seen either. Then at number 27, a name that we haven't seen a ton of, Azareye'h Thomas. That is Wanye Thomas, the Cowboys safety's brother, the Florida State corner. Fits the Ravens mold. Big, long, athletic corner. Haven't seen him in many mock drafts. Dame Brooke to have him in round 2, though, of his last one. Mike Green, you'll see in a lot of round 1 mock drafts. Undersized, he's not the biggest edge rusher, but he fits. He was productive. He wasn't a massive liability against the run. At minimum, I'm seeing situational pass rush stuff in the back of round 1. That's got a lot of value. I love the pick of Josh Simmons here out of Ohio State to Washington. You're getting an offensive lineman to help protect Jaden Daniels going forward. That always makes sense. Coming off the knee injury, medicals are a concern, but that is a very talented player who was great in a small sample size for the Buckeyes this season. Derek Harmon, deep defensive tackle class. He's off the board here at number 30. I think was pretty disruptive, offers some good size. Decent pairing with Ed Oliver moving forward. TJ Sanders, who DJ mentions that he hadn't seen much buzz for Sanders, but he thought his tape was really good. So this might be more of a Jeremiah pick than like what he's hearing around the league pick. Another DT would be something for Philadelphia, who is likely good chance to end up losing Milton Williams, by the way. Then James Pierce Jr., elite speed, pass rusher extraordinaire. Real questions about his size and his overall run-stopping ability, but shoot. Chiefs getting a third down pass rusher, that's at 32, that's got plenty of value. So grade the Daniel Jeremiah mock draft for me. A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comment section of today's video. Some other 2025 NFL draft prospects not in round one. Two Ohio State guys, Emeka Egbuka, who was mentioned by DJ. Tyreek Williams, who I like out of Ohio State. Cameron Williams is a gifted offensive tackle, but he needs a year or two to develop. Nick Scorton, Siobhan Ravel have been in plenty of round one mock drafts. They did not make DJs.